Tesla stock.
Not our traditional stock that we usually look at, a non-dividend stock, but good for growth, and you asked for it.
Yeah, you asked for it, so we did a podcast, we did some research, and we have answers. They're confusing answers. Tesla's kind of confusing. It's like Trump going to a Biden rally wearing a Biden shirt. It
MAGA hat.
It makes or Biden
wearing a MAGA hat.
It's a stock that is good in certain situations and not as good in other ones.
Right.
When you look at all the stuff we looked at in our podcast, as far as the market share is concerned with Tesla, as we said during our Zoom video, it's way up there.
Well more than anybody else in the sector, $577 billion.
Right.
Almost half a trillion dollar company.
Yeah, and you think that, well, this is a very heavily diversified company, and they're not in terms of their operating revenue. Most of the revenue comes from the automotive side. So when you're comparing this company to other businesses, you're kind of comparing it to the automotive sector. So when you look at the other automotive manufacturers out there, they're small by comparison. Like Ford has like not even a quarter of their, 1/10 of their market cap valuation, but they have so much more market share.
Yeah, 13%, a little over 13% versus what, 3.3?
Yeah, Tesla has a lot less market share out there. When you look at those things, as far as whether was Tesla a good buy, well, I personally have Tesla stock.
And I have owned Tesla stock.
Yep, and we've had it for a long time. So if I'm personally looking at Tesla saying, hey, do I add to the shares? Do I think this is a good company to add to it? My take is, well, it depends.
It's kind of split.
It is. If you look at their financials on Tesla, they look good. For the first time in a few, like Amazon.
Since the beginning.
Since the beginning, the dawn of time with Tesla.
They're making money. They're earning a profit finally with the Series 3 and the Y that just came out. So that's very good financial news. When you look at their balance statement and their assets and their liabilities, it's not bad.
Their cash flow looks good too. Operating revenue looks good. It all looks good. But, but.
Here's the problem with Tesla.
Here's the problem. And it's hard for me to break away from the fundamentals because I'm a finance guy. I do the books. I run a company. I got all this stuff. I look at the numbers first. The numbers weren't what made me come to the decision that we did in Dividend Dudes. That's not common for me. Right. Brian is much more of the what's happening macroeconomically. So I shifted here a little bit. With Tesla, the reason why they're a conundrum, the problem is the innovation right now just isn't there.
Yeah, I want to see more research and development. The whole reason that people bought into Tesla is because it was new, exciting. The emotional sentiment was there. Everybody wanted to see Tesla succeed, and everybody wanted electric cars. And now they have it. I want to see, now what are you doing? How are you working to innovate the electric car space? Now that you got competition from BMW, Ford,
everyone,
Honda, Toyota, everybody's making an electric car, and they're doing a decent job. It's a far cry from the Leaf and whatever else was in the beginning. Tesla was the Cadillac or Mercedes-Benz of electric cars.
Oh, they were the only player.
Yeah, but now with all the other companies starting to catch up and do just as good, where's this $577 billion going to be the leader in the industry again?
Yeah, and you look at their operating revenue, it's pretty well in line with the other automotive industries. In some cases, it's bigger. We've got a bunch of companies that we looked at in our podcast, and you can kind of see how it kind of lines up with that. But for a long time, Tesla was like the only player. I mean, unless you wanted to buy like a Leaf or a Prius or something that wasn't anywhere near what the Tesla was, if you wanted an electric car, they were it.
Right.
I mean, Tesla was it.
The big companies, to Tesla's credit, is the big companies didn't want to tackle it because they didn't think there was a market for it, and they didn't want to spend the money on the research and development, and that's where Tesla came in. They proved that this is a sector that people want to get into. They want to have electric cars. The problem I have also is if everybody got an electric car tomorrow, our infrastructure couldn't handle it.
Our electric grid would just go
and then we'd have no power. Just like in California, they are pushing people to get electric cars, be net zero, and by 2035 have all electric. However, now they're telling people that, okay, yeah, get electric, but today don't charge your cars because it's a strain on our our power grid.
Your boss won't mind if you don't show up to work. It's fine. You're conserving the energy. That
They'll
doesn't
understand.
work.
Yeah.
That doesn't work.
So here are the underlying problems with Tesla is the research and power grid. And what are they going to do?
With the money, the solid state batteries is one thing that we looked at too with the research. Apparently, Tesla decided. Now, this is a little bit of an older article that we find. So if you want to fact check us or find something
it's a 2020
newer,
article.
Yeah, 2021. It was, I think, the post of the article. But they were saying back in 2021 they're sticking with the lithium-ion battery. They're not going solid state. If you look at some of the other major manufacturers, Ford, BMW, GM, all the other ones that they're pushing for that. So they're trying to innovate in that space. What if you had a Tesla, and we know the range is a problem in the winter, and you only got 300 miles on a charge, and your battery's going to last you 10% degradation every year. It's going to last you 8-9 years. But then all of a sudden, this competing car, like a Ford, comes out with a battery that goes 5 times that. You get 1,000 miles on a charge, and it doesn't degrade as much or cost as much to manufacture. That's the major benefit to solid state batteries. Like, it doesn't cost as much to produce on a car that looks just as good and drives just as good as a Tesla and is the same price. So as a manufacturer, what are you going to buy if you're a consumer? You're not going to buy the Tesla probably. That's another thing is that we're concerned about with Tesla. But as far as the fundamentals of the stock, as the company goes as a business, they still look good. Like as a high growth stock, let's say you're a high income individual and you're in a high tax bracket, and if you take dividends, you end up paying a lot in taxes on those dividends. Well, if you want a growth stock, do we think Tesla's going to go away? No. Everything looks pretty good. As far as a growth stock goes, you're not going to get those gains on paper, or not even going to get a dividend check for it, but you'll see maybe that on return on equity on their stock, and they are showing some positive trends that way. You can look at year over year equity growth. They're doing that. You can look at the market share of the cars. You can see them on the road more now. They are only just over 3% of market share in the automotive industry, so they have a long way to grow in the upward trajectory.
But by far the most affordable electric car with the quality that it has.
Yes, they have that going for them. So competitively, they're not terrible there. But for dividend dudes, for us, one, they don't pay a dividend. That kind of hurts us that way. And then number two, for the short term, our take is that we want to see more of what's happening in the sector. Like, what is all this competition going to do? Like, are they going to come up? Is Ford going to actually, they came out with this Mach-E Mustang and it butchered the car. And if they came out with a Ford Mustang so if you're from Ford and you're listening to this, come out with a convertible like sports car, electric car, and you got some customers. But they, what's going to happen when all these other Tesla's no longer the sole player. They're in a crowded field now. So if there's a bunch of other people there with them that has just as much infrastructure, has the customer base, has the production capability, and has the infrastructure, who's going to come out on top? We want to wait and see what happens with them. Now, if you have Tesla shares like I do, or you're going to sell it and you're going to criticize me like, well, I made a ton of money on Tesla. That's true. Don't have to sell it because they still look good.
I think they're still going to go up. Probably for 2023, they might go down still. That's like $165 a share, I think, right now. So I think they're probably going to go down as the economy goes down. But once the economy comes back, I see them going up because market sentiment is still pretty good for Tesla.
There's a big red flag. Big red flag.
Oh, I'm sorry.
Okay, there's another big red flag. The brilliant engineer that made Tesla what it is, Elon, he's not focused on Tesla anymore. He's got brilliant people running Tesla. That's great. But it reminds me of Steve Jobs. He got let go from the board and their stock went down. The products weren't there. And, he tried telling them, hey, I'm developing this new thing, the iPod. And all they saw was dollar signs. So they let him go. The company went to crap. And then, they brought him back and all came back. What's going to happen to Tesla when Elon Musk is not at the forefront of that all the time? Brilliant guy. He's somewhere else. So what happens then? The other big red flag, because this is such a weird stock. It trades like a tech stock, but it's not a tech stock. It's an automotive stock. So it's almost like it's in the wrong sector. So the market cap for this company does not reflect its actual operations. It's huge. I mean, they're 10 times the market share of Ford and GM.
Right. They're more competing with Apple and Amazon and those types.
There's just not an operation in the business that supports that size of market cap. And it's like, well, Tom, my stock could grow. Your stock could grow. You buy Tesla today. They did a split. That's fine. They made it more affordable. In our podcast, we talk about what happens with the technical charts when the split goes through. So go check that out. If you wanted to grow the stock price, the valuation, and you're a $577 billion market cap, in order for you to get 4 times that, you become larger than Apple. So like if you do a search on some of the largest stocks out there, the largest market cap stocks, Tesla would have to grow to be the largest on the planet.
Right.
In order for you to get, like, that's probably not going to happen because that's 10 times what the rest of the industry sector is doing. So does that mean the stock's not going to go up? No, but I do think that this is a big red flag for me. I think that we're going to struggle to see that growth when all the competition is coming up. Now, like I said, I'm not selling my shares. I think it's a good long-term growth stock. I do. But my suggestion, our suggestion together is just let's wait. Let's see what happens. And once we have a little bit more data on what goes on with all these other people and playing the same ball game, then we can buy. But right now, there's a lot of headwinds there. And if they're trading like a tech stock and we're going into a recession, that's also a pretty big red flag.
Yep.
So
buy the dips if you're going to.
Yeah.
Use it as kind of a it's coming. It's coming.
So what happens when you get old?
It is, because I want to say drip, but you can't drip it because
there's no dividend.
Hey, relax. This man's been put under a lot of pressure here. Let's take it easy on him. Say it! Say it!
Dollar cost
averaging. Thank you.
You're welcome.
So use it as a dollar cost averaging opportunity to just buy as it goes down, and when it goes up, you'll say, hey, made a lot of money. Thank you, and then just hold on to it.
So is Tesla a good buy? It depends.
It's a moderate buy.
It's a moderate buy, but are we buying in our portfolio? Well, you have to stick around and find out. We actually have some viewers giving us suggestions. Keep doing that. We appreciate that. So we've got a couple stock symbols that we're going to look at. We're going to do the same thing with that. And we have a monthly stock purchase on the portfolio that we started. If you're new to this, $400 a month. We started over, all for you. Just so you can see how we've built some measure of success. We've also had some suggestions from people that said, hey, we'd like to know if we don't have the $400 a month, how do we get that? We're working on that. There's it's hard to condense that into one 10-minute video. So there might be a few of them there.
Yep.
But thank you.
Thank you so much for watching, because without you, we don't do this, because we want to help everyone become financially free. And that's our goal. So if you want to see how we came to all these conclusions, go ahead and watch the very long video on just us talking about Tesla.
Oh, and bear with it. We do actually get engaging at some point.
According to us.
Yeah.
And as always, happy investing.